G'day guys, it's Phantom, and today I'm going to be talking about the new Disney live-action remake of Peter Pan and Wendy. This is a remake of the 1950s Peter Pan and follows a young girl who doesn't want to go to boarding school. Meets a boy who refuses to grow up, along with a tiny fairy and an evil parrot. Now, I was kind of skeptical when I heard this movie being announced, considering that the past few Disney live-action remakes haven't been that good. Most recently, Pinocchio, which is one of, if not the worst, Disney live-action remake, and seeing that Peter Pan, who is loved by so many, Peter Pan for me is a fun watch. So seeing that I knew that eventually it would happen, but I was kind of skeptical. But then when I saw that David Lowery, who was going to direct it, my hopes went up a little bit. Considering that he has made some of my favorite films over the last few years, from his independent films, Ghost Story and The Green Knight, which is two fantastic movies. I recommend it to everybody, even though it's not really for everybody, but they are just fantastic movies. And yes, and seeing his style in another live-action remake, he also directed Pete's Dragon, which is one of the better remakes. My hopes for this movie went up, and then when I saw the trailer and the beauty that I saw in the trailer, I was getting more and more excited. And I only found out that this movie dropped like a few hours that it dropped, and I watched it straight away. Because it wasn't really advertised that well. The marketing was kind of poor. Yeah, we got it, and I'm gonna say this right now, that it is one of the better remakes. It isn't fantastic or anything, but it is definitely better than most live-action remakes. Let's talk about the positives first. The cast, from Alexander Maloney, who plays Peter Pan, to Eva Addison, who plays Wendy, and Jude Law, who plays Captain Hook, is easily the best part of the film. His portrayal as Captain Hook is honestly one of the best adaptations for that character since the original. The Steven Spielberg Hook movie was also pretty good, but I think that this surpasses that, and I think that this is the second best Hook adaptation that we've had in a very long time. He bodies this character. He is menacing, he is quite scary, and he demands the screen every time that he's on screen. He is fantastic. The Lost Boys, I'm going to go into a little bit of a negative with this one. The Lost Boys were a bit disappointing to me. I know that this might be a little bit not good to say, but I think that the group was a part of the marketing, and for them to make an excuse of having more diverse characters, even though that's not really a bad thing in film. And I encourage it, but for them to have these outcast characters to be a point of casting diverse characters, I knew it was going to happen because it's Disney, but it doesn't work. They were not as integral to the story as they usually are. They, in this film, did nothing. They were only there to be captured, and for Wendy and Peter Pan, or either one of them, to save them. They did nothing, and they were easily the most disappointing part of the film. I'm going to go back to positives. The cinematography, and I know that I talk about this a lot with all these films, but the cinematography in this film is incredible. It's stunning, and it is no surprise considering that David Lowery has directed it, and he has directed some of the most beautiful films that I've ever seen. But the cinematography in this film is incredible, and I cannot praise it enough. It is fantastic. And yes. And also some of the visual effects were pretty good. The flying scenes, those were pretty cool. When the pirate ship is in the air. Great stuff. And I must say that's about it for positives. There is quite a bit of negatives. I already explained one. Tinkerbell. Why does she look like a Sims character? I know that like it's mostly like CGI with some of the actor doing their thing, but it looks like a Sim character, and it made me giggle a little bit because of how a little bit like bad it looked. It looked like a Sims character. Yeah, the writing as well is a little bit weak. There's some choices that the character makes that isn't really like intelligent. Unlike the kids, but like still. And also, the relationship between Peter Pan and Wendy is extremely lacking. And even though that the film is titled Peter Pan and Wendy, it honestly feels like they have no interaction at all. They do have some very, very good moments, but those are only like 5 minutes, and the rest, they have no chemistry at all, which is a bit of a shame. One more positives that I have is the choice that they did with music. I know that in the original that it being like a musical, it isn't like a big moment, and I appreciate that they did that here as well. It isn't like a big moment, it's kind of like in the background. That's kind of like a cool moment. Easily the best musical moments was on the pirate ship. They were great, and I'm happy that they didn't like make it this big massive thing. It just moved the story along very well. Overall, this is a very, very decent watch. I don't get the hate that it's getting. Well, I kind of do, but it shouldn't be getting as much hate as it has been. The critics love it, but the audience not so much, and I know why. But yeah, it is pretty good film. I do recommend it if you like David Lowery's films, or if you want to watch some more live action remakes. I don't know why you would want to do that, but it is what it is. And we are getting a Little Mermaid adaptation or remake soon as well. And I am also skeptical on that one. I hope that they do the character justice, because The Little Mermaid is a pretty good film. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, that was my review of Peter Pan and Wendy. What were your thoughts? Have you seen it? And yeah, have a good one.